All right, we're now live. Now live on YouTube.
Already.
I'll just give it a second to breathe at the beginning, and then we'll jump right in. And we're going live on Facebook. All right, so good evening and welcome to Nick's Knowledge and Notions Q Science Series, brought to you by Ramsey International and Seven Spheres Money. My name is MrWestbrooks, and I'm joined by Mr. Seven Spheres of Money himself, DJ the Money Coach, and we got a special guest in the building that we'll be introducing momentarily. But first, how you doing, DJ?
Hey man, I'm fired up as always. Nick, good to see you again, my friend. Hopefully everything's going well on your end out there in that awesome state of New Jersey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything's going well. You got two New Jersey heads in the house tonight, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I read this sharp guy's bio. Very impressive.
Yep. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. So before we get into that, as I'm queuing up Facebook, DJ, why don't you give your the intro that you usually give, just in case we have any new folks in the building, and then I'll pull the slide down after I finish putting in this title.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you don't know me, and my backstory is real simple. My story is very similar to yours. I started out with a 525 credit score, had over $40,000 worth of consumable debt coming out of college, and within 12 months of reading a chapter in a book called The Road to Wealth, took my credit score to 720. Within 24 months of that, took my credit score to over 800. And I haven't looked back. Matter of fact, where's that thing at? Here we go. Here's what the credit score was then. Here's what the credit score is right now. Actually up to date live. So
actually, DJ, hold on for a second. Let me pull the slide down so they can see that. Yeah. So okay, go ahead. So that to them again.
So they want to see that again. Okay.
Yeah.
So 805 there. 800 just recently as a couple of weeks ago. But that ain't what I'm excited about, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm excited about is that in 2002, I paid off all my consumable debt. Did not play the victim role, did not file bankruptcy. I went in and did three things: accountability, discipline, found myself a system, and I worked that system, and I became consumer debt free with an over 800 credit score. And 6 years after that, I became financially independent, had a six-figure passive income through business development, real estate, and dividend stocks, and had achieved a seven-figure net worth. But that ain't even what I'm excited about. I'm excited about what it says right here: God assets. I actually, over the past 20 years, have sat down with over 20,000 people and helped them achieve the same goals and aspirations: become consumer debt free, become financially independent in this corporation called the United States of America. And I started that by working with my church, and then start working with non-for-profits like the YMCA, work with the Federal Reserve. I work with Chamber of Commerce, state of Illinois, state of Michigan, on predatory lending, and also on the mortgage banking business. And I just went out across the country and I taught basic people to look like you and I in middle-class America how to become consumer debt-free and financially independent in the world. And that's my vocation, and one reason why that's my vocation is because my mother was a victim of predatory lending in the mid-90s, and she also was a victim of identity theft. So I said, if I could ever put myself in a position to help my mother out, I'm going to do that, which I did. And then I went ahead in our community to start helping them out. And then from there, the rest is history. And since then, we've just been going across the country and sharing the gospel and helping people out. And right now, today, we're working on a variety of different platforms. I've helped my grand host out here of his show, Nick, for the past year, came on board with us, and we just excited to be here, man. And if you ain't got assets, it don't make dollars. It don't make sense. And you can't have that pom-pom lifestyle, which is plenty of money and peace of mind. And you definitely can't come travel with us on the beaches of the World Club. But here's the secret. Ain't nothing special about what we're doing. It's just what they're not telling you and not showing you how to do it in a practical fashion. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Well, thank you, DJ, for that introduction. I'll go ahead and introduce a special guest. We got Mr. Jonathan Ramsey, who's also a media guy. All three of us have media backgrounds. Formerly educated in the broadcast area. Mr. Ramsey is also my cousin, and he most people know him by Ramsey. That's what he's known by. In the media world and in the hosting world. So he's he does live hosting, podcasting, writing, interviewing. Has a musical background, excellent ear for music. But I'm going to let him go into detail about his background. But first, cuz, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. That was a real good intro, man. I'm not good at talking about myself, so I'm glad you did all that for me. But no, I'm good, man. How are you, man?
Man, I'm great, man. I'm great. This you are the first guest on this show. Yeah. You were the first guest on this show. So DJ, he has his expert interview series where he brings on experts who've been in the game for at least 15 years. So I decided, since I'm in the early stages, why don't I bring on, people from my circle who are in the early stages, but are also, putting in the work and exercising that self-discipline and accountability. And they're on the right path towards becoming what the guys and girls in DJ's circle are have become. We're all on that path. So I definitely saw that in you. So why don't we start off with just tell everybody what you do, for your 9 to 5, and then for your 5 to 9, and then we'll get into your backstory.
All right. So my 9 to 5, I work audio video / IT for a finance company. We're handling all their corporate media for events, town halls. So my day to day is anything between turning on a TV for somebody that don't know how to use Zoom, or mounting the TV, or shooting a commercial, or running the audio board, the mics, everything for this entire financial analysis town hall happening. So it could be a real easy day or a real crazy day, where I'm working not just 9 to 5, but 9 to 9. Man, I struggle answering that question all the time, but it's with my brand, What's the Movement? Only reason I got the hat on today is because I ain't got a cut or a barber recently, but you guys know because of COVID, but and product placement obviously, but What's the Movement is an online. Well, it started as a Tumblr blog. It's been a whole whirlwind. Started as a Tumblr blog, turned FM radio show, turned internet radio show, turned podcast. Well, now it's a multimedia platform. We got a few other shows in pre-production, including my podcast, A-Side, B-Side podcast, which is kind of more closely aligned to the original FM radio show format. So if you're listening to the podcast, it doesn't just sound like a podcast. It actually has segments and it sounds like an FM radio show, because that's my background. Forgive me for all the times I say I'm working on it, because like I said, I got the radio background. We don't want dead air rather than pregnant pauses. So, but yeah, man. What's the Movement? We kind of cover artists, musicians, and just about anything moving in New Jersey. We talk to small business owners. More recently, I got the pleasure of interviewing Jim Jones. That's going to be coming out pretty soon. I could talk about that for hours, but not myself. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's all good. So why don't you give us the backstory? I know you mentioned a few things. The journey of what's the movement. All the stages it's been through. So how did you get started in media? Let's start there.
All right, so I got started in media. It was crazy. I really wanted to go to school I wanted to get into public office, right? But nobody goes to school for pre-law. Like you get your degree and then you go to school for law. You take your LSAT, you go to law school. That was like my original plan. I did want to be the first Black president. I didn't even graduate high school before that happened. So and the reason
Well, you know what? I can interject right here. You can still be the first Black president.
yeah
He wasn't the first Black president. So
technically
the rain on the parade, but he might have been the first African American president, but he was
It's a very
not the
good
first
point.
Black president.
It's a very good point. You know what it is? It's like I went to school for broadcast journalism, and my parents saw how good of a speaker I was kind of growing up. So they kind of pushed me towards journalism. They thought I was going to be like the Black Anderson Cooper or something on CNN, but they also pushed me towards music. So a lot of people don't know this. I'm actually a classically trained musician. I could play a bunch of different instruments. So I'm not just up here being a critic to other people's music without actually knowing what I'm talking about, because I'm not an artist, but I do. I do actually know music. So what's the movement kind of turned into like the perfect medium of both. And I kind of had like this obsession with finding like whatever the next thing is before it pops, trying to kind of find like that diamond in the rough as far as music. And the more involved I got into, I guess, music industry stuff, the less I enjoyed mainstream music and underground music and indie and independence. It's a lot of talent versus popularity. So I kind of decided to use What's the Movement as a platform to highlight that.
Okay, cool. So what were some of your experiences? You did the college radio, so I want you to talk about that. And what internships or spaces have you been in? Between when you got started and now.
The college radio thing, man, it was really rewarding. That's when I definitely knew I was doing the right thing. I turned What's the Movement from the blog site into radio format. So in addition to highlighting underground artists, I did get the opportunity to interview a couple big name artists in my time working at the radio station. So I worked at WPSC 88.7 FM. That is at William Patterson University. Year after year, it's usually rated number 1, 2, or 3 best college radio stations in the country, 10,000 students or more. Really, really great communications program. So they really invest in their students. And most of the guys that work there end up moving on and working in the field. Like the guy that was the production director at the station at the time, my man Mike, he's now the production director at Hot 97. So like it grew and grew and grew and grew. During my tenure there, we got nominated for an MTV Woody Award. We didn't win it, but at that time I had the number 1 show on the station, so I like to think that I had something to do with that. It just at that time, that's when I definitely knew I was doing the right thing. And I got to intern at Vibe magazine for a couple of months. I've done some content writing for a couple other places, the Star Ledger, News 12. Not so much an internship, but I got like a package published once because my professor was one of the morning anchors. So he kind of had a contest for the students in his class, and he threw me an alley-oop after I won it, thank God. So I got a little bit of published work in some big spaces and a bunch of small, including my own, which I like to call medium. But
Okay. Who are some of those big name artists that you've interviewed? I mean, you just mentioned Jim Jones. Who are some of the others?
I got to speak to Talib Kweli. I did a phone interview with Mac Miller. God rest his soul. That was huge for me at the time. That was like within my first 2 months on the station, so I was like crazy excited about that. He was supposed to come to the station. I got into a disagreement with his manager at the time, but we worked it out. And such a wonderful soul, man. But yeah, man. Them. I've got to do some stuff with Lupe Fiasco. This is like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. The list goes on, but those are the bigger names.
The bigger ones. Gotcha. And you're a host too. You host live events and yeah. So talk about that a little bit too.
So in addition to the radio, the editorial, What's the Movement? We have curated quite a few concerts of underground artists. COVID really got in the way of a lot of that this year. I feel like I did get to squeak one in with Feels Like R&B 2. That's an R&B and poetry showcase we host every year in New Brunswick, New Jersey at above our studios. Black-owned studio space in New Brunswick, man. Shout out to them. They said yeah when a lot of people said no, so I definitely have to mention them. We were going to do a tour this year. That didn't get to go through this summer, but prayerfully, we'll see what entertainment looks like in 2021 and moving forward. But yeah, I do concert booking. I book a lot of the artists myself. DJs. I try to make money with my friends, man. I try to keep everything in house. Shout out to my brother DJ Legend. He's the best kept secret in Jersey, now Philly. But yeah, man. Trying to keep it all moving. Try to make it a well-oiled machine before I move on to the next project, which is now Mood Room Sessions. That's gonna be pretty dope. We only got one out right now, but
yeah. So that was that was kind of in response to COVID. Since you weren't able to put on live shows at these venues. So what is Mood Room Sessions, and how did you come up with that idea?
So I feel like during quarantine, a lot of people in the media sphere kind of like, they just spent like all this time. They're like, everybody's at home, everybody's sitting on their phone trying to, like, it's a perfect time to create content for all these people to absorb content. As much as I like creating content on all of these mediums, whether it's podcasting, video, editorial, I didn't want to just create content to create content just so I could try to stay quote unquote relevant. So I spent a lot of the beginning months of quarantine kind of just sharpening my tools, working on DJing myself, since I don't have access to my brother at the time. And so Mood Room Sessions is kind of like my take on a virtual concert, just not on Instagram Live like everybody's doing, not on Twitch, but just kind of like one-off performances. The first one is with my man 8 Days Straight. He's also from Neptune, New Jersey. Singer, rapper, really talented brother. So he came in. We turned my entire living room into like this beautiful set. In the back, we got like so it's kind of an acoustic environment. He brought a guitar player. They set up. We set up the vinyls in the back. We set up the mood lighting, and we let the artist kind of pick what he wants the mood room to look like. And it's his session to kind of curate his own show in that sense. So this was we only did one thus far. I'm gonna be rolling these out bi-monthly, 2-3 times a month. I'm very satisfied with how it came out. I'm really excited for everybody else to see this.
Okay, great.
A couple of questions popped in my head, Ramsey.
Yeah. Go ahead, jump in there.
First question I have to you is: do you think that this will become one of the new norms in terms of media outlet virtually that people can make money off of? Because I've noticed my man JayZ Jeff is killing it. JayZ Jeff has a program that I was a JayZ Jeff fan. No, I wouldn't even say I was a JayZ Jeff fan. I like JayZ Jeff. Just put it that way. I like JayZ Jeff, but I really didn't acknowledge him as a real bona fide DJ.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Chicago, the house music capital of the world.
Jersey would argue you, but I feel you.
So DJs, well, y'all wouldn't even have a chance. It wouldn't be an argument. You wouldn't even have a conversation. No disrespect to you, young friend, but
none taken.
You got, Jamie Principles, you got Farley, you got every guy who created all across the world legends. That's what
definitely.
it's generated from. But here's my point: is that about 6 weeks ago, I noticed that JayZ Jeff came on Saturday and just did a show on YouTube. And, I didn't have anything to do. I popped it on, and next thing I knew, this cat can really DJ.
Yeah.
And since then, he has spawned out a every Saturday show that I'm addicted to and a Friday night show, and he get massive following. And I also noticed he's got massive sponsors. And it's almost like, this, to me, is a better environment than the traveling, unless you've never traveled, because that traveling across the world that he's done is get tiresome at a time.
Yeah.
But the way he's got it set up now, where he's got his own DJ studio in his house because he's made some good money, I mean, it's amazing. So I've seen there's this other group in the ARP community that does these live dance virtual shows that have been around for some while, and they're making great money. So I see this from a financial aspect is a smart move to not tire yourself out, make money easily, and actually make it passively, because that show can be evergreen. So from your perspective as a DJ and a media, guy who's done a little bit of everything very successfully, do you see this after COVID being something that'll stay? Because the simple fact, you can cut out a lot of your expenses, your overhead, and you can do it any time of the day, all over the world, just on this platform.
Definitely. I wasn't sure at first, and then like you're saying, DJ JayZ Jeff, DJ D Nice. Oh man, everybody is live streaming everything. I mean, like right now, it's at a necessity. I think people will still, like, the second everything, or if everything ever opens up ever again, I think people will want to be outside.
Oh, definitely.
But at the end of the day, I think what people are, at least what our generation and the next generations moving forward, I think what we're valuing now is experience. And if you can have an experience at home, and I don't got to go out and get dressed, and I could like have my libations at home, or if I can't afford to pay $20 to go to the club, and I could have club quarantine in my own living room. Yeah, I definitely think both mediums, like in person and virtual, I think there's room for everybody to eat.
Right, it's definitely created another stream of income that people didn't see there. And also from a demographic standpoint, if you look at people that are in our demographic who have money, who have time, but they don't want to go out and be doing the club, but they still want the club experience, they'll pay for the subscriptions to get that live feed coming into their home. And I think that's amazing, because you can even contract these guys to do your own event, your own party in your house, if your house is big enough and you got the space. I mean, if you think about it from that standpoint, from an entrepreneur standpoint, I'm thinking, because just like you and just like Nick, I had my own radio show when I was in college. It was a sports show, but at the same time, if I'm able to take that and package it to a niche market, I can market it at a higher price point. Because I don't want to be Walmart. I want to be Bloomingdale's. You follow me? So if I got somebody that can spin their butt off and do it the way I want to, and I can bring a crowd and pay a top dollar and get that experience, man, that's second to none. And then again, the evergreen aspect of it is do the work once, build the pipeline, and it pay you forever.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where the music business has been in the past 10 years anyway, when the internet ripped it apart, where you couldn't get that much money on record sales. Where you have to go into tours, and now with the streaming, which to me is a joke, because you're taking your platform and your masters and giving it to somebody else, and they're streaming and they're getting paid, and you're getting less than what you're getting paid from record sales, which a lot of these non-educated financial people don't realize. I get 1 million streams, but I get, a half of a cent.
Yeah, it's not even a half of a cent.
Right. I'm being nice. You know,
Yeah.
I'm being nice.
Yeah.
So I'm being facetious at the same time. But what if you just created your own platform like we have, and you streamed it yourself, and you had subscription services, doing like my man Ryan Leslie?
Yep. That's the perfect example.
Changed the model 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and sold millions of dollars off of 10,000, subscribers. He sold 17,000 records, but made millions of dollars, and people were selling millions of records when he making 200,000.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, it's show business, not business show.
Yep.
So that's the so. And then the second question I have for you is, I'm always confused about what is podcast versus all this stuff we're doing. And like I said, I've been in the radio, but honestly, don't even know what a podcast is between what we're doing right now. So can you explain to me, what is a podcast?
I mean, to be honest, it's crazy. I hate podcasts. I'm like we're all radio guys here, so that's why I try to make my podcast sound like a radio show. But yeah, man, podcasts, man. I feel like it's anything you want it to be at this point. It's no rhyme or reason to it. You don't got to deal with FCC guidelines. You record something and it's audio. It's a podcast. You could put a song on there. You could not put a song in there. You could just talk. Anybody can make a podcast, and it's absolutely bonkers. There's no rules to that game, and I think that's what it is. It's just freedom, just no rules.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, that jump up. And another thing is, you realize the Ramsey name is a famous name, Ramsey Lewis.
Yeah.
Dr. Jack Ramsey from basketball, and then you have this other Ramsey guy in the financial world, but. Dude, you couldn't have a better name if you picked it yourself.
It's crazy. My folks, and this is where me and my folks kind of disagree. They always told me they named me Jonathan Carl Ramsey because they thought it would make me a really highly employable young man. And I'm trying to explain to them, you didn't raise a highly employable young man. You raised a boss. So it sounds all nice. Except for like being in first grade and getting into fights over John Benet Ramsey and that entire thing. That was a wild time. But besides that, I do like my name. I appreciate it.
There you go. Your parents obviously are probably my generation, a little bit older, but I understand why they said that, because it was a different time frame. But now you're right. Everybody's raising bosses and chief executive officers of their own enterprise. With the medium that we have and the internet world, you can become anything you want to. You just got to know how to market yourself, have a plan, get a team, and just go out there and knock it out the park. So that's the exciting thing about this. So, man, you've got a lot of great accomplishments in a short period of time. So what's the game plan to scale up what you do and to duplicate it so that you can have residual income without you having to do the hustle when you don't want to hustle?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, obviously I want to automate everything as quickly as I can. Right now, so like Mood Room Sessions is kind of serving as the next program, because I want to turn this into an entire multimedia platform where it is eventually subscription based. So like I don't want to just live off of YouTube and Apple, Spotify, or whatever. I want one day to get access to A side, B side, you have to go to What's the Movement and only What's the Movement. I get to be on the app. In addition to my podcast, I have 2 in pre-production right now. Then Mood Room Sessions, working on a little script for a web series. We'll see how that goes. If me and my girlfriend can get that going. I know she's over here probably like, what are you talking about? But and yeah, she is, but at least she's smiling. I guess that's good. But yeah, I ideally I would like to automate everything as quickly as possible, but like done correctly. That way, it never has to be done ever again. So if you're a person out there and you got a show and you want to be on What's the Movement, the network, right now it's a lot of room for growth. That's all I'm gonna say.
Bringing that Dame Dash model.
Yeah.
Curating everything, owning everything, and building out and understanding that 5-10 years later it's going to be worth more. Here's another thing to tie in the financial standpoint. It's awesome that you are doing media for a financial company. And here's what people don't understand how valuations work. They actually think that the revenues they're generating today are the most important, but it's really the captured revenue that you're going to grow in the future. And what I mean by that, if you take like Amazon, you take like Google, and you see that once people start getting addicted to using their services, that some of them are free, like Prime used to be free. But then when they got hundreds of millions of users, they turned that switch on and made Prime $100 a year. They immediately created, $10 billion, just like that.
Yeah.
Google, the same thing. So if we are using our business mindset, it's about what the valuation of our business will be in terms of future cash flows from the ecosystem that we create today. So if you can take that, build that platform out, and then anticipate what those are going to be 10, 100x, you can have yourself a multi-$100 million business right now, today, in the future, in the next 5 to 10 years. So I would encourage you to keep building that platform and look at what the investment of the acquisition of the actual, audience and the, stickiness. In terms of my commitment to stay, with what's moving with the A side and the B side. And then you can monetize that from a sponsorship and a longevity, relationship. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs miss the boat at, because they're so busy trying to hustle and show that they're rich now today versus looking at the wealth that they can build by building that pipeline. That's a critical part. And then the curation part, goes without saying. And now you have yourself a valuable, priceless, asset that you can name, the dollar amount for your subscribers, for your sponsors, and for your people who want that experience.
Yeah, I'm happy you said that too, because so in addition to journalism, I double majored in music management. So I do a little bit of consultations for musicians around the way, digital marketing and other ideas and plans. And I kind of tell people all the time, having your music on Apple and Spotify and everything is great. And it's kind of following, like how you said, the Ryan Leslie model. But if there's a day that Apple just shuts down, where is your music? If there's a day Spotify shuts down, where is your music? You got to have your own platform to some extent. You got to have your own website. You can't just live on social media, because Instagram crashes all the time. It crashed yesterday. If there's a problem, if Instagram shuts down and never works again, where is all of your documented work? That's why it's so important to have a website, a platform of some kind. So, I'm really
the battle that's going on between Legend and Apple right now.
Yeah.
That goes to say. So a lot of times that free accessibility, you don't realize you're actually giving up your content, you're giving up your control, because you get on this platform because they got a whole bunch of viewers. But that's the shortcut to the shortcut when, again, I want to build that platform and own everything about it myself and market it. So what would be your recommendations to new people that want to get into this game and treat it like a business so that they can grow it and be in a position where you are today?
In media, first, and I was guilty of it myself for a very long time. File your LLC. File an actual business entity, because you can try to sue Jonathan Ramsey.
Did we pay him to say that?
He didn't even know.
Keep dropping them numbers, bro.
Go ahead. We're gonna talk about why we're laughing in a minute, but go ahead and finish that point.
I mean, like put it this way: you can sue Jonathan C. Ramsey, but you can't sue Jonathan C. Ramsey. You can sue Jonathan C. Ramsey LLC, the company, for whatever quarrel you got with that. But you got to take care of yourself. Really invest in yourself that way. Another tip, and I guess this is for musicians, like read the fine print in all these DSPs and distribution services. Make sure that you're not giving away your creative ownership or intellectual property to any of these places. Make sure it's just only, we're here to distribute your music here and here and here. You can do it yourself. It's a longer process. I'm in the middle of doing that with my podcast. It's available everywhere because I'm distributing it through through a distribution company, but eventually there's, like I said, there's going to be a day. If you want A-side, B-side, you got to come to whatsthemovement.net and only there to get it. And you got to pay my price for it.
Right.
Not that I'm going to charge your arm or
Basically
leg.
just licensing it at the end. At the end of the day. I mean, another thing that you talked about in terms of those contracts, a lot of times people don't realize that they actually own them and own their name. Yeah. Forget about the intellectual property. They own the person themselves, that you can't go out and do a show on any other platform because you own by these 360 contracts.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But I think a lot of times in today's world with the access to so much information, it just befuddles me why people are so in a rush to get a contract with somebody when you can be your own label. But again, they want instant fame. But what are they doing right now in this COVID?
Yeah, they're at home.
At home. What is Hollywood doing right now? Locked down.
Yeah.
You know,
but the label's making all this money off of streams because everybody at home.
Exactly.
None of it.
Exactly. But if you got your own platform and you own it outright, guess what? You're getting paid.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. You're getting paid. And I go back to the Jazzy Jeff model, because guess what? His stuff is getting more and more views. I see him coming up with more and more sponsorships, and he's got these DJs all around, the world. And the funny thing is, he had already started doing this before COVID had jumped off. So now he became the go-to guy.
Yeah.
Became the go-to guy. Now everybody was jumping on his platform, and with the sponsors with the new digital technology on the spin scratching deal. I mean, it's phenomenal. The creativity is off the chain. And if you can just systematically make it into a format that you can actually license out to somebody else, I mean, the money is unlimited, but the freedom and the control is the power at the end of the day. So that's a fire thing. But what we're laughing about is that for you to know that doing business the right way is the rule number one. Starting a corporation, getting the structure together, working with the proper professionals. A lot of people missing the boat on that, big time. And they can make $1 million and don't have a real corporation and be out of business literally tomorrow.
Yeah. Like, how are you going to file all that? Like, how are you going to file these other taxes? It's nuts to me.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Man, you couldn't have picked a better guest for your first guest, man. I mean, we got to make sure we pay him, man, after the show is over.
I'm paid in credibility being with you guys. That's cool with me.
Oh yeah. We definitely gonna have. I know some people too. I know some people too. I'm gonna have some more coming through also.
Well, we didn't bring you on the team just for nothing.
Oh yeah.
We didn't expect you to be, George Paul or the Clippers.
Oh man.
Pandemic P, as they call him.
He broke my heart. He was one of my favorite players, man.
Oh my goodness.
Keyword is was.
Oh my goodness. Man, see, that's the first time he messed up tonight.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah, we looking for them Jamal Murrays, baby. We looking for them Jimmy Butlers. You know what I'm saying?
You already know.
That is awesome. So what's your next project that you're excited about, Ramsey, that the world needs to know about, and we need to get our people turned on to?
Definitely mood room sessions. I'm really I am sad that we didn't get to curate our live shows the way we wanted to, but we're still trying to give some kind of live environment. I am working on actually being like everybody else and doing a virtual live series as well. That's going to be in partnership with another media company. One that is kind of funny. I had tried to collaborate with them in the past, and they were the ones like, "Hey, if you don't have your LLC file, we're not trying to work with you." So they kind of lit a fire under me. And
man, can you say that again? They said what?
But yeah, man, they lit a fire under me, and that's how we've been able to acquire sponsorships for a lot of these live shows. I've gotten to work with a lot of people in the spirits industry, between small little distilleries to big corporations like E&J Gallo. I've gotten to work with Jerry's Vodka, is a local vodka company in Kenilworth, New Jersey. But file your LLC, y'all. Something.
They ain't cutting checks to that's sole proprietors.
Yeah, no, that's facts.
Yeah, baby. When they go to check out if you legitimate, man, hey, that's legitimacy right there. And then some people think, man, dude, I'm gonna do it myself and save the $500. All right, you go right ahead. You're an expert. You go right ahead and miss the boat. Or another thing that people do, they go do the trademark thing and get somebody who don't really know what they're doing, and they have half of a mark versus the whole mark. And man, it's so funny. There's so many cats out there that if they got on the wrong side of us, we can go and put them out of business because we know that they're exposed. That's the funny part at the end of the day. And that's not something we would desire ever to do. But if you're out here putting out these registration marks and these TMs and you're not that, any real company is going to expose that. And then they'll own your mark at the end of the day. That's a funny thing. Being in business, and you probably experienced this, where you're going to come across a litigious, negative situation regardless of what you do if you stay in business long enough.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the irony of this shirt I got on, Got Assets, I actually had tripped on the mark of the person who had Got Assets in another totally different industry, and I didn't even know it. But thank goodness I had the best trademark litigation attorney that got us to share the mark back in 2006.
Oh, nice.
And then conversely, somebody tripped on and was using our mark without our knowledge, and we were able to put them in a cease and desist. And that's big if you're trying to really do business at the end of the day. And then the licensing the licensing capacity of it is in perpetuity that the money that you can make off of. That's the greatest thing. Most artists are worth more dead than they are alive.
Absolutely.
Because they're masters, their catalog, and their licensing rights. So, man, that's amazing, man. Man, I definitely look forward to having some of our people get a chance to meet you and talk to you, and even us doing some work with you as well. Since Nick has been hiding all this time, we could have been up and had this conversation several weeks ago. Yeah, man, that's fired up.
Yep. Yeah. So let's so I'm glad we, last few minutes we were talking about the importance of ownership, for sure, and how complicated, media can be, especially, in the digital world, and, with drawing that line between what accounts for ownership and what's kind of like ownership, it's complicated with these platforms, so I also want us to talk a little bit more about that. Ramsey, you mentioned it with the example about Apple Music. If Apple Music shut down, then where would you put your music? So these platforms, they award us the flexibility to decide what day, what time we want to put out our content. For the most part, what content we want to put out, how we design it, and things like that. They usually give us, a pretty good leeway. You have to really go off the rails in order for them to shut you down or tune you out. So we own the ideas and the content, but we don't own the platforms. So it's very tricky. Like where do we draw the line, or how do we determine what's really ownership? When it comes to these platforms, because you have distribution also, and we don't necessarily own the distribution either. So do we go and try to create our own distribution channel? How do we how do we deal with that?
I mean, if you can, no middleman. You do all of it. It's so much more work, but I mean, it's so much more takeaway. And you don't have to worry about that risk of companies just like deciding, all right, well, we're done with you, or we're done ourselves. We're filing bankruptcy. We're getting out of the business. There's no more Spotify. There's no more Apple. There's no more Tidal. I mean, like, obviously that's probably not going to happen, at least not in this decade, but you never know. I mean, nobody ever saw streaming happening. You like before 20 years ago, you would have told me that I don't physically have to have a CD to listen to it. I would have told you were crazy. But now, so like, I guess it all depends on whatever the next breakthrough in obtaining content is going to be. Whether it's a microchip in your head, or I have no idea in that standpoint. But the best way to get ahead right now is to cut out the middleman. I mean, that's why like everybody's preaching so much stuff about being independent. Like the Chance the Rapper's, what if his contract is independent or not, whatever that means. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
I think the piggyback on that, you first and foremost, you got to have extreme confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
Goes without saying. You have to have the ability to believe in the vision that God gave you, and having the accessibility and relationships is what you talked about when you were saying it was, you didn't want to be cliches in the article that I read about you, but it is. The relationships are priceless. So if you can take those relationships, have extreme confidence, and develop a system, then you can work on building and owning everything that you have, because you don't need to cash and be wealthy right now, literally today. You can literally play the marathon and become more successful. And that's probably 90% of the battle for most people that look like us, because most of them don't come from a lot of resources that are in your game. Because 9 out of 10 times, if they came from a lot of resources, unless they really love that industry, they'd be doing something else.
Yeah.
That's been my experience, because it's a ruthless game in of itself, and you basically get used. Most people that become platinum artists, they don't make money until their third, fourth album if they're lucky to still be in business. And if you don't believe me, all you got to do is watch one of these unsung documentaries. How and a lot of times they don't realize when they get discovered, their best work is that first one, because they're trying to make a name for themselves. And then it's almost impossible, unless you are really a stud, to create even better success after that first one. So when you ask that question, Nick, about how do we control that, distribution is the road to wealth in the media business. So do you have the capacity, the confidence, the resources to actually create your own distribution center? And that's why I always go back to Dane. I like what he did. I don't like him personally as a person, but I love his confidence in the business model that he developed, and he spawned off the fruit on his tree is without parallel. If you look at the people that are doing business, JayZ, you look at Kanye, they learned the game from him. You got to give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely.
And they've created billions of revenue dollars. They're not billionaires if you believe that hype. They're not billionaires. Trust me. They don't have $1 billion in the bank. Kanye just the other day crying about his masters. How can you be a billionaire and you don't own your masters? Okay. Yeah. So that's a lot of, publicity and marketing. Okay. So if you have the ability to do that, build that pipeline, have extreme confidence in yourself, have access to relationships, and then you can parlay those relationships. Again, it's where I'm looking at 5, 10, 15 years out. And the reason why we're becoming the second class society in America to China, because China's been planning what they've been doing for 400 years.
Yeah.
We're planning for 20, 30 years. They're planning 400 years in advance. So they can turn on a dime and go after the industry, because one, they got more people. And if people look at machine learning and artificial intelligence, if you look at it just 10 years ago, America was dominating everybody. But China, as a national, continent, said everybody is going to be doing machine learning and artificial intelligence. And now they're going to be the superpower here in the next 24, 36 months at the latest, because they focused on that, and they weren't worried about the losses that they were getting initially, because they weren't losses. They were just learning building blocks. But if we're always under a desperation model, which most of us are who don't have access to resources, we're going to give up everything we got to the first person come with a check that looks bigger than we ever seen. And a lot of times that check can be as little as $5,000, $10,000.
Yeah.
And then that guy that gave you that check, he's making $1 million. And I always love this. If you ain't seen one movie, go see Cadillac Man. Cadillac Man with Mos Def, Jeffrey Wright, and Beyonce. And there's one scene in the movie with they sit down with the radio guy, and Mos Def is playing what's the guy that does the guitar?
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry. Yep.
Yeah,
so they sit down in front of the radio show owner, and he says, "I'm gonna make you famous." He's pointing to Chuck Berry, and he points to the Jewish guy. "I'm gonna make you rich." And Chuck Berry said, "Oh no, let me switch seats with him. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm trying to be rich." And that's where the Cadillacs came from, because these industries would just give them cars, do this, and then they charge all of that off on your expenses, and then there ain't nothing left. Actually, it is. They give you a bill.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So if you have the wherewithal to start networking inside your network, and this is the reason why I was joking with you, Nick, is that someone as talented as your cousin Ramsey, the sooner we know him, the sooner we all win, because we can connect the dots in our network and actually create cooperative economics and actually help him win, help you win, and then help us win.
Yeah.
And that's accessibility. That's what the Jews do. That's what the Chinese do.
That's what everybody
That's what
does.
the East Indians do. And that's definitely what the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, and the Latinos do. But we don't, because we've been indoctrinated by the mindset that we got to be infighting and fighting against each other versus sharing the wealth. And this is what I'm going to tell you. Go watch the documentary Capital on Netflix, and you will see what I'm talking about. So we may be starting out slow here. We may only get 100 views and everything. But guess what? We ain't running a 100-yard meter. We're doing a marathon.
Amen.
And that's what people don't realize. We looking at where the milepost going to be 5 years, 10 years from now, because unless they turn the internet off, we're going to be here. And if it's good today, it's going to be great tomorrow. Only question is, Ramsey and Nick, are we going to own all of it, or we have sold off the little bits for that $10,000 check?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you said that. And it's funny, me and my girlfriend talk about this all the time. So she's from Morristown, New Jersey, and it's a really I guess it's a real segregated town. But what I can tell is, like, the blacks are on one side of town, the Latins are on one side of town, and then the rest is white folks. And it's like the blacks, we just got our side of town, but you go to the Latin community, they have their bodega, and they're going there. They're not going to ShopRite. They're not going to the grocery store. They're supporting their own bodegas, where they're getting fresher ingredients and cheaper, by the way, too. And they're putting money in their own, and they're funneling the money that way. Like you said, the East Indians.
Yeah,
you go to yeah, and you go to any corporate, or like, so like I work at Marsh & McLennan, and that's my 9 to 5. It's a whole floor of them, and they hire within. They take care of each other. Like one of my OGs one day saw me eating lunch with another brother I work with. And he was like, "I'm happy to see the two of you were sitting here eating lunch together. I'm going to buy you lunch." And he's sitting here talking to us, and he's like, "Look at everybody in this cafeteria. It's just you two brothers together, but all the other brothers is all spread apart all over the place. All the white folks is eating together, all the Indians is eating together, all the Latinos are eating together. But we all over the place." And I think that's a good analogy for how we move financially as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy.
Dr. Randall Pickett said the other day, we so busy talking about, man, what percentage I'm going to get? And he said, do you realize that 100% of nothing is still nothing? If you're picking over, oh, I'm not going to get my 10%, my 30%. How about we come together like they do and get 100% of the pie first, And then as it's making money, then we figure out how to split it up amongst us. So everybody wants to be the chief instead of being a team player. And here's the great thing about your cousin Nick is that he is a certified team player. And that's the biggest winner that you can have, because that person understands serving the big picture first. They're going to get paid in spades and diamonds, but you got to believe that that's how the system works. But if you don't, you're going to keep being like, I got to get mine, got to get mine, got to get mine. And we see it on our platform so many times that we could put all these companies out of business, because here's the reality. They all making money off of our culture. Mm-hmm. And we create the culture that let them be wealthy. But if we just decided we weren't going to endorse, acknowledge, and keep our stuff to ourselves, what could they do?
Yeah. It's a good point. It's like
I mean, people
don't realize, like, leaders are really just the best servants, you know? Like that's all that's about. Like, all right, so like recently my interview with Jim Jones, like I have to give a shout out to my brother Mike Brown. That interview only came to be because of a collaboration between three companies: mine, What's the Movement, his, the Commission, and my homegirl Samantha, who did the actual production of it. She runs Perimeter Productions. So like the concept of the interview was his idea to do like this video series with movers and shakers in the culture and industry. But he's like, all right, well, Ramsey, he's a journalist, so how about I get him in front of the camera, I get my homegirl Samantha behind the camera, and we'll just host it on my platform. So like I could easily just take all the credit to say like, yo, I did that, but no, that was a collaboration between three different companies. And we all own the content. We're all doing something with it. I'm gonna, after it's been released on YouTube for a while, we're gonna re-release it as a podcast on A side, B side. So
sweet.
So that's like, I feel like that's the way we got to, at least at this stage and where we're at right now, we got to move like that.
Right, and you can't pull back and lose the rights. And people thought Netflix was going to go down when Disney Plus came out.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
and you see now Netflix rolling out all these old school programs that are winners from 15, 20 years ago.
Like, UPN network, essentially.
Exactly. That's all it is. But again, that content, people are going to be there. They're going to step up to the table. And that creativity that we got from, the Most High, it's unlimited, man. It is unlimited. We're only using, what they say, 10, 15% capacity of our brains on average. And the people at Geniuses, I think they say they're using like 20, 30%.
Yeah.
So all that untapped, domain and territory is fully just to push yourself. And I'll tell you this, man, I got a great book, Nick, and I know we always pushing books.
Yeah. What we got?
Here's the new one, brother. And this ain't even new. This book came out 2014. Got to get this book here. 0 to 1.
I'm writing that down right now.
0 to 1. And guess what? This book is on the who's who readers list of cats like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg. If they reading it, I'm reading.
Everybody knows something you don't, man.
That's a fact.
Exactly, man. Yeah, this is fired up, and just to have that, chemistry and connection of, have been in college, done a radio show, done stuff on the same platform. That man, that's priceless in of itself, and that just builds community, and it shows people that you can be a business person and also a creative person at the same time. Those used to be mutually exclusive of each other.
Yeah.
But now
essentially you got to be both.
Yeah. DJ, you also did some hosting too. Maybe not emceeing per se, but as far as the parties go, you have your infamous story with with the blackout party with Diddy during the All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
So
that was so long ago, I'd be forgetting about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so y'all have that connection too, as far as the events go.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some events in my day.
Yeah. Some lessons learned, from those experiences. I'm sure both of y'all can relate to that too. Those lessons that were learned. Yeah,
We just been telling war stories, man, for the next 7 days.
yeah. So we're gonna talk about the current book that I'm reading that we're going to be discussing on the show in October. I'll go grab it in a minute. I don't have it right next to me, but it's right, few steps away from me. So I think we had a very very thorough conversation. Got into some important topics about media. I learned some things that I was a little bit fuzzy on about what you do, family. so it was even informative for me. So I guess to kind of tie things together. Is there anything else that we might have left out in terms of things you're working on, or just media in general that we want to bring up or address before we start wrapping this thing up?
Only thing I want to say is we didn't talk about. So I'm the director of programming for a nonprofit, the Independent Entertainment Media Coalition.
Yeah, talk about that.
I'm gonna read my notes because Philosodom, our executive director, would be mad if I said it wrong. So, which we just featured her in our Media Mogul in the Making series. We kind of cover journalists kind of doing their thing in the industry. Every week we do a Q&A with somebody. So this week I featured her because she's always just been covering other people and she don't get enough love. So the nonprofit, what we do is we share financial resources, maintain a support fund, assist. It's kind of like a membership kind of deal. You pay your dues, and but for all media folks that are in the organization, we assist members with career opportunities. In addition to mentoring aspiring journalists that are trying to enter the media field, we have a budding blogger scholarship that we give out to 3 people every year for students going to college for journalism. But yeah, it's a really great organization.
Where can we find them on the web, on Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, we are on everywhere at IEM Coalition on all of social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can also go to iemcoalition.net to find our website, to possibly join, support financially. If you support us, we support everybody. So you're not really giving money to us. You're giving money to the next generation. So. Like I said, I'm director of programming, so I kind of run our live events, which we haven't really gotten to do much this year, unfortunately, because of COVID-19. But the last program we put together was, funny enough, a media licensing webinar. We booked a photographer to sit and talk. We booked a intellectual property lawyer, kind of giving tips and about filing LLCs. We had a couple of accountants on there, in addition to other business owners like City Medina. He runs Equal Space in Newark, New Jersey. But it was a really dope event. It was something we really planned on doing in person. It was going to be like a one-stop shop kind of event. You show up and you like if you're trying to join the coalition, you could do that. If you're trying to establish yourself as a media platform, like an actual proprietary, we had experts in a bunch of different fields that can help you. If you're not sure you want to join, like I said, go to the website IEMcoalition.net. We have dope merch, which I'm wearing. This is
Oh yeah.
newer. We got dope shirts, mugs, tote bags for the ladies. I mean that's gender neutral. I'm not gonna mess it up. But yeah, I got another. Yeah. I'm not gonna do that. But we got dope products and merchandise. I got a dope shirt that says emails over DMs. Please don't DM me your music. Send me a submission to our emails.
I like that.
We got a lot of dope stuff. Something I think you guys would definitely be interested in. I'll shoot you the information right after we're done.
Absolutely.
If you're looking for anything What's the Movement related, you can go to whatsthemovement.net. You can go to .com too. It'll just take you to .net. There's a funny story behind that. I didn't own .com in the beginning. I was in the bidding war for that, but we got it. So you can type it either or go to the same place. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at What's the Movement. Twitter, we ran out of characters, so it's What's without a H in there. But everywhere else, What's the Movement with a H, no apostrophe.
Okay.
And if you're interested in me, I am Ramsey Said What, RAMSEY Said What, everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Don't hit me up on Facebook unless you're family, at least about business, but
unless you old.
Yeah. I mean, you could like the fan page, Ramsey Said What. You could do
Ramsey
that.
was being nice, unless you old.
Yeah, pretty much. But
that dog don't help young guys.
Yeah. Where can they catch the podcast? A side, B side.
So A side, B side, also on Instagram, A side, B side, letter A side, letter B side podcast. That's everywhere podcasts can be heard. We very well might be in your trending section on Audio Mac. We get a lot of plays there, but Apple, Spotify, and also on whatsthemovement.net, because that's where eventually that's going to be the only place you get to go to get it. But for now, we're everywhere. You can listen to podcasts. Like I said, we've had a bunch of dope guests. Obviously, I name dropped the guests we're going to have in a few weeks, so look out for that.
Kind of sounds like this man is a little bit Jamaican. He got jobs everywhere. You like this cat to say, hey, you never sleep, do you?
Man, you know what's crazy? I feel like half of quarantine I wasn't doing enough, and this week it's just been bananas between my pen, my camera, and my microphone all just moving at the same time. My gym just opened back up, so I'm just now getting back in the gym.
Okay.
I dropped 20 pounds. I mean, I gained 30 over quarantine, but I dropped 20, so I'm a little proud of that. But yeah, man, I try to keep busy, and I'm down to work with people that want to work.
Cool.
Yeah,
like I'm not Hollywood. Straight up, just hit me up. If I don't respond, don't take it personal. I will eventually respond.
Yeah. So you got all the information there. So for your audio learners, he just said it for you. For your visual learners, it'll be right there in the description of this video. All is contact information, as well as all of our contact information. So we'll close out, but first we'll get into what 7 Spheres of Money and DJ the Money Coach has going on and what we have coming up. DJ just did another powerful interview on Ericka Williams' channel last night. So if you didn't see that, make sure you go over to Ericka Williams on YouTube and check out that interview. He also has a special running. So if you watch that interview, you can take advantage of that special. We also have our weekly shows going on. Of course, this one, Friday nights at 8 p.m. And then we also have A Story on Wednesday nights at same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And this past show, Astoria gave everyone some valuable travel tips, because Astoria is a world traveler, in addition to being a MBA holder, master hairstylist, entrepreneur.
She was out there in that Cabo San Luke.
Yep. Yeah, yep, out of Mexico. Yep, she's in Mexico right now. You know, living the pom-pom lifestyle.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. So we have, a webinar coming up. What was next week? Yeah, next week.
23rd. Wednesday
Yeah.
the 23rd, we have our family finance one-on-one webinar, and that's going to cover business, real estate, and investing in stocks. And we're going to show you how to do that from A to Z and what we call 136 principles of financial success. So people who want to tip and find out a little bit more about that, all they got to do is jump on the link. We have a link that goes to it, and then we're actually going to have our man Leonard Ray coming out again at the beginning of the month and talk about Forex. We got a lot of stuff jumping off that we're excited about, and then we'll actually do our next financial expert series as well. So we have a few other people teed up coming on that as well. But the next event is the webinar on September 23rd. That's going to kick off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be fire, baby. It's going to be pure fire, showing people how to become consumer debt free, financially independent, and have that pom-pom lifestyle, which is plenty of money, peace of mind. And we want them to come join us on the Beaches of the World Club, because you can't take none of this with you. So, and if you want to stay young like me, peace of mind, baby.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to get into that webinar, you want to grab that Ericka Williams special. That's the only way you're going to get into this webinar. So make sure you grab that Ericka Williams special offer. Watch the interview, get that special offer, and you'll get access to that webinar. And in a few weeks, on the October 2nd episode of Nick's Knowledge and Notions, we'll have the book of the month discussion. So if you'd like to join in that discussion, the book that we'll be talking about is this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Never Eat Alone.
Man.
Keith Razi.
That's fire right there.
Yes, it is.
All about relationships.
Yes.
Best book written in 10 years about relationships and business and power of real networking versus what my mentor George Fraser said, networking. A lot of times brothers and sisters go out to events supposed to be business, but they too busy trying to look at chasing skirts. You know what I'm saying?
Or pocket watch.
Yeah, pocket watch too.
Yep, exactly. Some things never change.
Yep. Yeah. So if you've been watching our programming, like even this show tonight, you noticed that we talked about relationships. We if whether it was indirectly, we referenced or alluded to the importance of building long-term and significant and meaningful relationships, and that's what this book is all about. And you'll hear that throughout all of our programming, all of our interviews, even our webinars. We're constantly emphasizing the importance of real networking, building relationships, and the benefits that we've all enjoyed from doing that. So that's what we have going on. That's what we got coming up, in the near future. So as always, make sure you subscribe to this channel, 7 Spheres of Money. Visit djthemoneycoach.com. That's where we have all our information. That's where you can get on the email list. DJ, give them the phone number where they can call you if they want to speak to you.
Oh yeah, you can reach us at toll free 866-395-3042. Toll free 866-395-3042. We'd love to hear from you, and we would love to try to help you get to the next level of success in your life as well.
Yep, and you can email me, Nick at djthemoneycoach.com. Now, if you prefer email, you can contact us that way. So, with that being said, we wish you a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind, and we want you to join us on the Beaches of the World Club. So until a story on Wednesday and the webinar on the 23rd, take care, and we'll see you on the next broadcast. Peace and good.